we're back.
That always reminds
I
me
know.
of that song.
It's true.
Yeah.
But nobody else, these people don't know.
No. Never mind.
We are back from our trip to Edinburgh and London, and it was really fun. Did you have fun?
I did have fun.
But gosh, it was exhausting.
So exhausting.
You can't go to these places and relax.
Oh no! When we got home, I got in my bed and I slept for like 10 hours.
I woke up really early the next morning. I guess because of the difference in the time or something. It was very unusual.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not a morning person.
I usually am.
Yeah.
I did get up early because I went to sleep really early.
Yeah. Well, but it was great. It was just a lot. There was no resting.
So many steps. For all you step counters,
Oh, yeah.
which I am usually not, but my God.
You did actually have your phone
I
told
did
us.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I checked every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to. I mean, I was interested in that time, but I would never ordinarily get one of those Fitbit things or whatever because I'm so type A. I would always want to do more. So it's like I would never rest because I would just always be forcing myself to do more. That's just my personality. I can never just be happy with something like I have. Well, that's not true. I'm happy with some things like my books, kids, and those. But not with anything like that. I'm always going to be like, damn it, I needed more.
Not me. The sloth always wins out. If I could literally live my life laying down, I would.
Oh, wow. I don't think I like my bed. I need a new bed, I think.
Oh, I would generally like any bed except the one in London.
Oh, springy. I didn't know they made springs anymore. We were sleeping on box springs, basically.
Yeah. But we'll get to that.
Well, we'll get to that. Let's first start off with my mini segment. You know I like my little mini segments. I just make up names for them as I go along. This one I've called Sometimes You Get What You Need.
Okay.
It's not about the Rolling Stones. Although I'm staring at Keith Richards. We'll post the picture.
Definitely
of
post
Keith
that
Richards,
picture because it's something.
he's like really big and staring at me with his skull ring. Oh, I lost my ring, by the way. Remember I bought a
Your
ring?
mood ring?
It was gone when we were on the plane going home. It was
Really?
like it only wanted to be with me for our trip.
That's weird.
It just slid off my hand, I guess.
I mean,
don't
it wasn't big.
Well, apparently it was too big.
I guess so.
I didn't feel it come off or anything.
Oh.
I think it was just meant for the trip. I'm just kind of sad I never took a picture of it.
Yeah.
Little heart mood ring. Well, at least I didn't buy like some expensive piece of jewelry.
Really.
Whatever. It was very strange. Okay, so this mini segment is called Sometimes You Get What You Need, and it's a weird one.
Love it.
Well, it's not that. No, it's weird. It's a weird person. It's about, actually, Aubrey Plaza. Now, did you listen to the Aubrey Plaza interview on Howard?
No, I never listened to the interviews.
Okay, well, I wanted to listen because, I really do like Aubrey Plaza. I loved her on
Parks and Rec.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, she was April on Parks and Rec.
Yeah, she's great. And she's always kind of that person.
Yeah.
And I think we both agreed, we thought that is her personality, whatever.
Yes.
But I had read in the Howard Stern one of those fan groups, that everybody thought it went really badly and that she was standoffish and Howard felt bad or whatever. So I'm like, oh, well, I wanted to listen to that failure. But honestly, it was incredible. I think it might be my favorite interview ever of his.
Wow, really?
I know you're going to like it too because she's so odd and like she was so interesting, the things she said. And while he was kind of perplexed, he kind of went with her. Honestly, I think he just didn't get her enough and it would have been even better. But he was kind of like trying to figure it out, but she was just being her. But she said at the end, he said, I always wanted to meet you. She said, I always wanted to meet you too. And he said, really? But it really was clear that she was just herself. So, okay. She said that she's been going to the shrink and she's got all this stuff going on. He goes, well, what is it? What's the matter? She goes, I just don't know. Because she's always acting like she's always in roles. She's like, I just don't know who I am and I don't know what reality is. And I thought that was just excellent because does any of us really know who we are and what reality is? Like, I just don't think we do. And she said it a couple of times when he asked questions, like, And she kept saying she didn't remember things, and she wasn't lying. She just didn't remember them. And he goes, well, how do you remember your lines? And she's like, it's just different. It's like if something, it was different. But at one point he said, well, how do you become these different characters? She goes, because I'm dead inside. And I love that.
Okay, maybe I will listen to that.
It was great. And then again, she kept talking about like the fact that she was like so confused about reality. And I don't think I think he could have said, because he wants desperately for there to be a reality. Howard wants his rules. He wants his life just so. He wants a regimen. He doesn't want to think about all these other things. But what it made me think of was that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that there really is no reality, like everything's just happening all at once, which is like what they say about quantum physics and all that. I mean, so in a way, scientists agree with, not in a way, they do agree with this whole thing. And this was more cohesive than that movie, but that movie meant a lot to me because my son Casey watched it twice, and it was odd because it just doesn't seem like a movie he would even like, but he was like an old soul, and he kind of he somehow knew what was coming, and I'll tell you in a minute. And he watched it twice, and he told me he watched it twice. He goes, "I'm so glad I saw it because it really made me understand things." I'm like, okay. So then he died, not at that moment, but he died on January 13th, 2023, and it was sudden, but yet there were warnings that I really didn't want to know. Like, I'm talking about like voices told me inside, and I'll talk about this all another time because I'm all doing. But this is why, when Aubrey Plaza was saying that stuff, it was a reminder of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it was kind of like a message from Casey, that it doesn't, like, life and death doesn't really even matter because we are just all these things, and we keep like repeating these things, but we find the people that love each other find each other over and over. And our souls are just like so beyond, our flesh. So it was really very comforting. She's kind of like, she was disturbed about all that, but then she talked about she had a stroke when I think she was 20 or 21, very young, right?
I heard that.
And that was really interesting because she talked about what happened to her. Like all of a sudden, she said she was in a mid-sentence walking in someone's house, and all of a sudden, half her body was paralyzed and she couldn't speak. Like, she wanted to speak, but her brain. So she said something is. She said it was like, I've realized that there was more to me than just my brain, because like there was this other part of me, like my soul or whatever, was saying like speak, but my brain wouldn't do it. But it was all like pretty comforting, because then it was like, oh well, you could die at any time, but it doesn't matter because there's more than that. And even Robin broke in to ask her a question about it. And Robin never breaks into the interviews because she was so interested in it. So I just found that really comforting too. And yeah, it was very interesting how she talked about it. And she said they were trying to ask her what she had for breakfast or I guess the paramedics. And in her mind, her soul, like, it's like yogurt, but she couldn't say yogurt. So at the end of the interview, Howard's like, I'm glad you could say yogurt. But it was like, she's very, because I guess she's still, I don't know if she's in her 20s or 30s now. Maybe, I guess 30s, right?
I would think 30s.
But she really likes Howard and Robin. She's like, am I going to be all right? And he said, yeah. And she goes, Robin, do you think I'm going to be all right? And Robin's like, yeah, you're doing fine, But I don't know. It was actually a really great interview. She talked a lot. She likes to remain in character. She goes like, oh, I'm not like Daniel Day-Lewis. He goes, well, if you go to craft services, are you still going to be that character? She goes, yeah. And she was talking about just a lot of things, and like, I really enjoyed the interview. And normally I don't listen to the whole interview because they're very long. Maybe because also it was shorter too. But I mean, it wasn't short by any means. Yeah. Howard's interviews are always very long now, and it's good. Like, and I'm not again. I think if it makes him happy, I'm all for it. But I really don't feel like delving so much. And God, the music people, when he goes into their processes, I'm like, oh my God. I'm interested in the writing of the lyrics because I'm a writer, but like enough with the chords and this and that, and I don't know. It's just enough.
I don't know. I usually don't listen to them because honestly, I don't care about celebrities for the most part. There's very few that I want to actually hear from.
Yeah. Well, she was good. I think you would like that. And she was talking about how she still has a hole in her brain from the stroke, and she's like, and so like he said, so she kind of snapped at him a couple of times, and she's like, hey, I have a hole in my brain. But it was good. It's really. I recommend if anyone can listen to it. If you don't have Sirius, why don't you? Is the question.
You can usually get it on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube
though.
is what I was going to say. Yeah, but you should have Sirius anyway. I'm not selling it, but I do love it.
I do like Sirius
Yeah.
too. I mean, not just for Howard, but
Really, you listen to other things?
I do.
Oh my god.
They have tons of great music stations.
Yeah. All right. Don't listen to music. Listen to podcasts, people.
Sometimes I like listening to
I
music.
know. I'm only kidding. All right. So now we'll get to our main event. It's probably not a big surprise because we went away. So I'm tentatively calling this episode, which is episode 5, by the way.
Wow.
That's pretty exciting, right? I'm calling it Edinburgh Enlightenment.
Oh, okay.
Even though it was such a dark, it's a very dark place, but I think we were like, don't you feel like when you travel anywhere, don't you like something changes in you? You've been affected by that place, you know?
Yeah.
And I think Edinburgh was pretty strong with that. Like there was a lot going on in Edinburgh.
I liked the dark history.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I thought it was great. But before we talk about the dark history, let's talk about, oh my God. First, when we were in the airport, we were going to take the regular bus. You know, there's like a regular bus that takes you in, but then there's this like bright orange bus, and it was like £1 less. And we're like, why? And they're like, oh, come on, we're great. And you know, we're new or whatever. And so we took it because why not save the £1 if it's going to the same place, right? So, but then we noticed that they had a double decker of the same thing. Like they had the hop on, hop off bus later on. And so the guy, we didn't want to buy the ticket that day because it was almost over the day, you know?
Yeah.
And he goes, no, it's good for 2 days. And so you get it for the next 2 days. I'll put it in, but you can just go on today. They don't really look at the receipt, right?
Yeah.
You just sort of wave it at them, right?
Yeah. So if you ever go, definitely do that.
But be careful because... So we basically used it as a taxi for us because, my God, the hills there.
And the stairs.
The stairs in the hills. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I was like, they were everywhere. Like you couldn't escape.
Oh, yeah.
And then like it would say like gentle uphill walking, gentle my butt. Oh my gosh. And so to get up where all the good, like the old town where all like the Royal Mile and all that old cool stuff is. Yeah, it's very high. So we just took that bus every day.
Oh, yeah.
But on the last day, this nasty bus driver checked my receipt.
He actually did his job.
And I was like, I acted like so innocent. I was like, what? That guy said that we could skip days and go on and off. He said it was for 48 hours. And he goes, it's only supposed to be 24. So the guy did lie to us. That sold it to us.
Yes, he did.
I'm like, but, he just like threw us off the bus.
He sure did.
So then I ripped off we didn't want to walk and we didn't want to call an Uber. We just wanted to go back down. So we ripped off I said, let's rip off the top and the bottom of this. And there still was a barcode. He would have to scan. It was a QR code. He would have to scan, not him. He left. And we knew it wasn't going to be him again. And so I just ripped off everything that had dates or anything and just kept the part with the ticket, and the barcode. Next person didn't even care.
Didn't even care.
What was this guy's
The
problem?
only person that cared was that guy.
God, snotty.
Well, I mean, technically he was doing his job.
Yeah, but the guy told
But
us
he
we could
was-
just go on and off.
Nah, he was a jackass.
It was mean. But we got back on.
Yes.
Yes. So the other thrilling thing that happened was that, okay, I grabbed a purple suit. I have this I like it. I was going to say it's cool. I know it's a suitcase, but it's a Samsonite purple suitcase, right? And so when it came around, everything came around. So I took the suitcase and we went to the hotel and we were looking for something in the suit. Remember we had to open the suitcase for
We
something?
were looking for the adapter.
The adapter,
The
yeah.
power, the
yeah.
outlet adapter.
So we were each getting out our adapters, and I was like, "This is not my clothes."
This is not my beautiful house.
This is
not my beautiful wife.
And I realized that I had somebody else's bag. I'm like, "Oh no!" But the real horror happens because you cannot reach anybody in that airport. At least
Yeah.
JetBlue, they closed for the day. Like right after we came in, they closed for the day.
Yes.
and you couldn't get anybody. And then so I called the like luggage thing for JetBlue, like the regular whole service one. It was like some other company, and they didn't want to like they were just so rude. And meanwhile, I was paying. I know it's not a lot of money, but still, I had to pay 25 cents per minute for the phone calls, right? And so then you find another JetBlue number, and they give you some long recording where they explain that if you are French, you do not have to agree to something, and they say it in French for like at least 2 minutes. There goes 50 cents every time I call. like it's just annoying, you know. And then bottom line, I filled out a thing. I told the people. They kept saying you have to get to the people at the airport, and they were like, "Oh, don't worry, they'll bring it to you." Well, it was like 3 days. We didn't get it back. I had to buy clothes at Primark, which we discovered, by the way. Primark is very good.
Yeah.
Very good and very cheap. Love it. Love it. Big thumbs up. Best socks I ever got.
Yes, those socks were nice.
And very good underwear. Just a lovely place. So cheap. Probably cheaper here there than here. But
yeah, I checked out their website today, and they're not as cheap here as they are there.
By the way, pharmacies are so cheap also
Oh, yeah.
in the UK.
I got, like, I don't know, was that Tylenol, like, whatever it was for, like...
I had to Google it.
Yes.
I said I knew it was something, and we found out it was
for
Tylenol.
like £1.50, I guess they
No,
call it.
I think it was only 60 pence or something.
Oh, no, it was 55.
Yeah.
55 pence.
And you got like 16 pills.
Yes.
It was like ridiculous. Like you can't, like it's so expensive here. Even when you buy the store brand, it's so, it's so much more expensive than it was there.
Yeah.
So if you ever go there and if you take that stuff, stock up on it.
Yeah, go to Boots.
Boots. These boots were made for walking. So we finally we went back to the airport. I mean, and I didn't bring the other suitcase because I told them where to get it. You know, because like, why am I was really feeling sick. I had gotten kind of sick. In a big way, I got sick. Like just a stomach issue thing while we were on a bus tour. This is a perfect
Going
place.
to Loch Ness.
Yeah. Well, we had left Loch
Oh,
Ness.
yes, we left Loch
And I had had the hot chocolate with the whiskey in it at the guy's suggestion. And it was very good, but that's an aversion therapy because if you get really sick right after that, I'm never going to have hot chocolate or whiskey again.
Oh, yeah, there's things I won't eat because I've gotten sick.
I didn't throw up. It was the other way, but let me tell you something.
my.
It was a big mess. It was really disgusting.
Wow, that is TMI.
Why? Well, Robin talked about. You said I should talk about these things. No good.
No, why not?
Robin talked about getting the
it happens to everyone.
It was yes. It was awful. It was awful. But and new pants were involved. That you had to get for me. And they were like weird fishing pants or something.
That was the best I could do.
They're great pants actually for the water. Anyway, so we brought back the thing, and there was like this long. There was nobody. They have this. I don't know why, but the airlines don't deal with their own baggage issues in Edinburgh, but they do in New York, but they don't do it in Edinburgh. So they had like this separate service, and there was this line of people. It wasn't incredibly long, but nobody was at the desk and
for
we
a
were waiting,
long time,
right? And then when the people came back, there was really only one guy helping. This other woman did other things entirely. I think she was taking bookings for Qatar Airlines or something, which I don't know what had to do with anything. Everything was just a mess there.
I don't know, and she kept wandering off.
She did too. But the guy was so caring that he was asking people questions about their luggage that were absurd. Like, you know, like he did not need all these details. But nobody asked could they go in the luggage room and look for their luggage, which should be the first question.
Yeah.
So I said to him, someone told me it was here, which honestly, I'm pretty sure someone did tell me it was there. I think I wasn't lying. And I'm like, there's just these 2 sweatshirts in it that were my son's. My son passed away. And when people hear that's my, it works. That's, you know, like it's your free pass, you know. So he took me and another guy who he told to wait for like, it would have been forever probably, also to go look. And he's like, he asked you to stay because we weren't supposed to go back there, but like whatever. And it is much faster for someone to look for their own luggage, right? This room was freaking jam-packed with luggage, and probably so many people had come, and nobody had even bothered to look for their luggage. It was jam-packed with luggage. What are they doing?
That should be the first thing they do.
I don't understand. And I found my bag, no problem. And then, like, and that was it. But, like, and the other guy was still looking. But, of course, I had to hightail it. I was like, let's go. You know,
You were like, fuck
well,
that.
we had to go to, we had an appointment for a tour thing, but it wouldn't have been a problem if if it hadn't taken so frigging long. No, we never thought it would take this long at the airport, you know. But I think it's, so if you ever lose your luggage, demand that they bring you to that luggage room wherever you are, because it's more than likely that your luggage is in there. And they lie. They say they're bringing it, and and I knew they weren't, because I never it was not them. It was other JetBlue. Like, well, we have to get in touch with the JetBlue in Edinburgh, which is like never open. It wasn't even open when we were there. But thank God they had this other luggage service, you know. But that room, I'm telling you, was top to bottom stuff with people's suitcases. They'll probably never see them again.
Probably
you know?
not.
But I wanted my stuff, especially my sweatshirts that were Casey's.
Yeah.
But I wanted all my stuff.
Of
you know.
course. It's your stuff.
It's my stuff. And you know, the weird thing is I didn't use most of that stuff because I had bought the new clothes.
Yes.
Which were nice. You know, does this happen to you when you pack? Like, you never know what you're going to need, so you pack like so much. But the minute you get there, like, oh, you know immediately what you need, and you didn't need most of it.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
Because you want just in cases.
Worry. So what's worrying with travel? It's kind of silly. But I didn't need that bag at all. I could have just kept this. I brought a French press, as you know. Okay, the last time I've been to England, I'd never been to Edinburgh, but I'd been to England, London many times, right? Well, several at least. And the last time was with my sons. We went on like a 3-week trip. Never I'll talk about that another time too. But the point was, you couldn't get coffee there. Like, you could only get like this really shitty coffee. Like in like some tea houses, they had something called Americano, and it was so like watered down. So I brought this French press. But now there's freaking coffee houses on every corner.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's drinking coffee.
Yeah, it's all over.
And McDonald's has it too. But I guess there was no McDonald's near me where I was last time, because they might have had it. But I'm telling you, you could not find coffee except this really crappy coffee. And like, so I didn't need the French press at all. And that was really the reason, because when I put that in the bag I normally carry, already my bag was like a third full. But I didn't even need it. But anyway, whatever, right? So luggage got back eventually, so that was good. So now let's talk about Edinburgh's dark history.
Yes.
We will say that they were very tough on crime.
They sure were.
So I think the most shocking thing was that that square next to what's the name of that church?
St. Giles.
I can never say it. That's where the Queen, she died in Edinburgh, and they laid her out in state first at this church. But right next to this like pious church or whatever, they had this square, and they would nail people by body parts like to like sort of jive with their crimes.
Yes.
And I mean, like, why were the people's tongues were nailed? Why were their tongues nailed? I forgot.
I don't remember.
They must have said something.
Yeah.
What could they have said?
I don't know.
That was that
I don't
offensive?
remember. I just remember when they said they would rip their tongue off.
Yeah.
And you'd end up with a forked tongue.
Yes. And so everybody always knew. Maybe they lied, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, what a crime, you know? Well, and then like the second offense, they would, and then they did ears. I don't remember why, but children got the ear thing a lot. They did kids, like when they were 8, they would do that to them.
Yes, because according to them, at 8 years old, you were an adult.
Yeah, like, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then people would come and throw shit at you.
Yeah, like the whole day.
Say nasty things to you.
They could do whatever they wanted to.
Yeah, because it was 24 hours you'd sit there with whatever body part nailed to that. Yeah,
they did like all different kinds. And then the second offense, they actually ripped the ear off or something. Like, you know, so then the kids would just they cut their whole ear off or something. So the kids would just like pull their ear right off and run. Like they weren't waiting around.
And then you've got to wonder, like, I mean, there was, the doctors obviously weren't like they are today. Like, how'd those people survive without getting infections?
That's true. Well, I guess whiskey.
I guess so.
I don't know, but I mean, you don't need your tongue, technically.
No, I'm just talking about the wound and keeping it from getting infected.
They had a lot of doctors around there, like, which is something we're going to talk about.
They had sketchy doctors.
Well, they got those med school guys.
Well, they also had the barbers.
Yes, barbers did bloodletting then. They were like, barbers were part of the physicians' organization or something. And that's why the barber pole has the red for the blood,
Yeah.
which I thought was very interesting
Yeah. I did not know
and gross.
that.
Yeah, barber, like, oh, would you mind putting some leeches on me, please?
And they did some minor surgeries too.
They did. Yeah.
Crazy.
Wonder what kind of training they really had.
No, I don't know.
Yeah. So there was that square. Okay. So then when we went to get this bus, there were a lot of graveyards, and we were standing next to this graveyard. So the guy told us the story about the bus. It's just the guy doing the bus stuff, and he told us that that grave robbing was a huge problem, but it wasn't to steal the possession. I always thought grave robbers like stole jewelry and things from the people.
I think some did,
No,
but
this
not
guy-
in this case.
Not in this case. This guy said no, they were stealing the bodies to sell to medical students
Yeah.
because the medical students had to perform tests on cadavers in order to graduate. So it's like they were inviting grave robbing.
Right. It was big business.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Doctors are supposed to be above board. So then they built like a watchtower over the graveyard. And so graveyard robbers would still come. I guess they were just desperate for money.
Yeah.
And if they got shot, they became the one to
Right.
get sold to the medical school. And they had like several medical schools, and like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle went to there. Like, was he paying for bodies? Like, geez, seems wrong. And Charles Darwin was a dropout because he couldn't stand the sight of blood, which is good because he did his own. He did other things that were important. It was better that he didn't become a doctor.
Yeah.
You know, everything happens for a reason. I
Yeah.
guess. So then they were stealing all these bodies. Then there was these two guys that I think they initially robbed graves, but they thought, well, why don't we just kill people? And so their names were William Burke and William Hare, same first name. And it says they killed at least 16 victims that they know of, but some people say there were a lot more. And they would get them drunk. They would invite like unfortunate people. There were a lot of people that didn't have homes and this and that. So they invite them, you want to come hang out in a hotel, stay, whatever. And then they would murder them.
Yeah.
They would suffocate them, I think, so the body didn't get hurt.
Yeah, because they need to sell them.
Yes, very important. So they finally got caught. I think someone got away or something. And one of them was rich, so he was allowed to testify against the other one, and he got off, which is like...
Yes, but they made him leave the country.
Okay.
I know that was...
I mean, but it's like things never change. Like we always say, like, a lot of wealthy people do actually... Well, just the fact you can afford a better lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even... They do. They get treated differently, and I know they do.
Of course.
Largely because they can hire the kind of lawyers that can get them these deals and
Right.
this and that. But in this case, this just happened, and so the other guy got executed. And they love these public executions.
Yeah.
It was like party time.
Yeah, you brought
Families,
the kids.
everybody went. I mean, it's pretty gross. I don't think I would want to watch somebody die. I know I wouldn't.
I don't think I would
No.
either. But
I know I
mean,
wouldn't.
Who knows when you're in that
So
situation?
it's like that story, The Lottery.
Oh yeah.
And in the end, the kid,
Shirley
spoiler.
Jackson.
Yeah, in the end, like her own, everybody's throwing the rocks at the mother, and in the end, the kid picks up the rock to throw at the mother. I mean, my God,
Yeah, that was a really good story.
it's very upsetting. But that's a lot. Human nature is a very strange thing. I don't think I would go. So they had his execution, and a lot of people were upset because they couldn't fit. Like there were so many things. So then they had a public dissection of him. Like they took apart his whole body. Like I guess I don't know. Maybe they wanted to see what made this killer tick. I really don't know. But so they invited other people to come and look at that. And then they did the creepiest thing I've ever heard.
As if the other stuff wasn't creepy.
They made a book out of his skin, like a notebook. It's a small. It's like it looks like a leather notebook. So now I don't think I could ever. I don't like leather anyway. I don't eat meat. I feel bad for cows. But now you think next time you want something leather, you could think about that is somebody's skin. Okay, it was somebody's skin that was using it just fine and dandy and didn't need it to be scraped off of them and for your pleasure. And this book is this guy's human skin.
Yes, it's
And
on display at the surgeon's
It's on display.
Hall Museum.
I wrote
Surgeon's
down,
Hall.
It's the Surgeon's Hall Museums, plural. I don't know why, but which ironically is a site of one of the medical schools. And it's the medical school where they would sell mostly their stuff to because they were paying more there. There were like they were competing medical schools or whatever, but this one paid more. So
I definitely recommend going to this
Oh,
place.
yeah.
It's very interesting, and
It
there's
is.
a lot of body parts.
so many. You even were like, okay, enough.
I know.
And I was like, we came there for her, except I needed to see that notebook.
Yes.
And like, I want to know what's in that notebook. Like, no one's ever going to use that notebook. It's just on display. Like, did someone write something in that note? I forgot to ask. I've got to find out
They
more.
wrote, "You did."
I don't understand why a notebook that no one's ever going to use.
I don't know. Why do we make pocketbooks out of cows?
Well, I know, but okay, a leather notebook, normally if somebody buys it, they will use it. But this is never going to be used. They knew that. I thought they made it into a box, like a trinket box. But then somebody said, no, it's a notebook. And there was also a pen, like, inserted. Like, for what reason?
And it's a very small notebook.
It's so small.
Well, I mean, the skin shrinks.
I mean, no, then probably they could have made a bigger one if they wanted. I think
I would
some
think
sort of a weird
so.
statement they were making.
Yeah, well,
We already have a Facebook group. I could put the picture there on the Facebook group. Yeah, we have it's called Life and Jest Podcast Community. So please join us if you're on Facebook. I'm also going to eventually, this is a lot of work, folks, because I actually have to write books and things. But I'm going to make a website. So if you don't have Facebook, we'll also have a website. We'll put these pictures of these kinds of things. You need to see this notebook. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, And then the guy, when we went in, I asked the guy specifically, of course, there's a gift shop when you walk in, right? And walk out. Like, that's just like the way it is in the
Yeah.
world. So I said, do you have a postcard of he's the one who corrected me and said it was a notebook. And he said, no. And he was like annoyed with me. And guess what? They did have a postcard of it.
Yes.
So what is this guy's problem?
and by the way, it's not like he was busy.
No,
we were the
no.
only two in there.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know what is it? Do I just annoy people?
No, he just seemed like he was just generally annoyed by life
Well, why did he lie? Because that's like, shouldn't he tell the truth about the things they sell?
because he's a dick.
Yeah.
Some people are just dicks.
So it wasn't me.
I don't think so. You didn't. You
I
asked
don't
him
really
for a postcard.
Honestly, I don't actually care. I don't know why I do, but I'm just curious, I guess. I do have. There's definitely people that have met me that instantly hated me.
I think that's with everybody, though.
Yeah,
I mean, there's people that just don't like you.
but like the minute they meet you,
Yeah.
like what's their
Oh,
problem?
I do that too.
You do?
There are people that I meet and I just get a bad vibe off of them and I
well-
just don't like them.
Okay, but I don't have a bad vibe, so it's not that.
It depends on the person. I mean, there's just always going to be people.
I do get bad vibes sometimes, but I don't actually show it or anything. I'm very polite.
I
try to be.
can't say that I'm polite.
I have to be. I sell. I write books. You
Yes.
can't. Somebody writing all over Facebook. She was such a bitch. Da, da, da. I mean, maybe when I get a certain degree of fame, I can do that. But I can't.
I usually have a problem hiding it. My face gives me away.
Oh, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good poker face.
That I try.
Yeah.
I try, but so many people annoy me.
I don't know. Something about me. I can lie when I really need to. That's one thing about me.
I can, but I'm not good at it.
I'm very good at. Remember, I really denied to that bus driver.
You
Like
sure did.
I was just like I was indignant, and we just got off. So, anyway, so yes, definitely go to that museum if you're in Edinburgh. I'm so annoyed because I wanted to go to the Writers' Museum especially because I love Robert Louis Stevenson. I just love him.
Yeah.
And the place was closed for the entire time because they were filming Frankenstein. Frankenstein. When you see Frankenstein, they filmed it every place we wanted to be. We couldn't go into the Edinburgh Museum, the regular one about the place. It was so stupid.
And we went far to get to that
We
museum.
walked really far. You were like in tears. You were
I was so done.
our feet hurt so much. I mean, I have this injury, like in my, I forgot what they're called, but like I have torn menisci, so it's not fun walking anyway. But this was beyond the normal pain walking. Our feet throbbed so much that we went to bed at night. We couldn't even sleep because our feet were throbbing so
Yeah.
much. But to walk for no reason,
Yeah, that was a long walk for no reason.
And it was cobblestones and stuff.
Yes, and the website said,
Said
they
it was
were open.
They should have updated it.
They should.
But I couldn't. So we couldn't go there. And they were filming all over the place. But those were the two main things that we wanted to. I mean, that Writers' Museum, I would have loved that.
Yeah, I would have liked that too.
Yeah. So let's talk about the real Jekyll and Hyde. There's this guy named Deacon Brody.
I'm glad you wrote this stuff down because I don't remember anybody's name.
Yeah, like this morning I wrote down my plan of what we,
Yeah.
and I like took my notes that I already had, and then I supplemented a little bit with Google to make sure that I had a full,
Yeah.
So Deacon Brody was this really respectable guy. First thing we learned about him is it said that he was hanged on the site where we saw this thing. It was like painted. They have like an inn dedicated to him. And then they have, remember across the street, I took a picture with him on the Facebook group. I have a picture of me hugging this guy. That's Deacon Brody, obviously, a statue. And it was in his close, which is, so his family really, he lived in there, actually in the
I
city
don't
called the
remember
Close.
this at all.
Across the street from the tavern,
Yeah.
it said something about Deacon Brody Close. And there was a statue of a guy, and you took a picture of me hugging him.
I did.
Yes.
I have no memory of that.
I'm taking all these pictures for you guys because I don't like seeing pictures of myself, but I know that people want to see me in the pictures, so I'm going along with it.
Good for you, because I'm like,
Yeah.
nope.
Normally, I would just take a picture of the thing,
That's
but I
what
know,
I
but
did.
I know, but they like you, they like us.
Well, that's too
Today
fucking bad.
I put my selfie of me in the Highland Coup.
Oh, so
Love
cute.
him.
They are so adorable.
Oh, that's so cute. They're so not dark.
Yes.
So anyway, so Deacon Brody was this really respectable guy. Like, he's a deacon because he was a master in a guild, because he was a cabinet maker. So he wasn't a religious beacon. I guess you get awarded that if you're a certain member of a guild. And really, like, finally respected. And he would fix people's locks. And all the rich people came to him and this and that. But at night, he was a thief. They called him a thief and something else. A thief and a bandit or something. I thought it was the same thing. But a burglar and a thief. Isn't that the same? I guess a burglar breaks into someone's house.
Yeah.
But wouldn't a burglar be a thief?
Well, look, I got my house broken into and he didn't steal anything.
Okay, so I guess burglar and thief is correct. Okay. Well, good on you, Wikipedia. And so he was making wax impressions of their keys and making keys and robbing everybody. And the first thing he did was make an impression of a bank key, and he stole like 800 pounds or something. And like they say, he got off on it. Like he did like the money, of course, but he loved the idea that he was like sneaking up on people and stuff.
Right.
So, by day everybody just respected him so much. But then he had something else he did, which I think is the worst thing of all. He had 5 children by 2 mistresses who did not know of each other. That is terrible. That's a real crime. Those poor women.
Oh, yeah. You know, people do that every day.
Shit. Yes, I do. I have personal experience with that. So then there's a quote. The Edinburgh University historian Owen Dudley Edwards said he was bourgeois, he was respectable, he was the sort of person whom the criminal classes were supposed to look up to. But he got caught because I don't know if it was, the tour guide said it was him that fell asleep during a robbery, but this said it was somebody else, so who knows? Someone fell asleep. He initially got away. He fled to the Netherlands, and he was going to go to America, but he wrote to one of his mistresses and told her to come visit him, and instead she turned him in. She must have heard about
What a dummy.
She probably heard about the other woman by
Yeah.
then. Like, forget this guy, right? And so he got caught, and he was hanged. I mean, they just hang you like now nobody. You're lucky to ever get the death penalty around here but you definitely wouldn't get it for being a thief.
No.
Or a burglar. So they hanged him on October 1st, 1788, before a crowd of 40,000 people, including his 10-year-old daughter, Cecilia.
Oh, my.
Or Cecily, something like that. Your own daughter watches you die? That's gross.
That's rough.
And he had 5 kids, so how did this one kid wind up there?
Oh, maybe she was a
questions.
dark soul.
Yeah, she was an adult at 10. I forgot she was an adult at 8.
Yes, that's
yeah.
true.
She watched her own father get hanged. That is really bad. So Robert Louis Stevenson first wrote a play about this guy with somebody else. And if it was a flop or didn't do well, I don't know. Flop is a little mean to say about him. But then he was really thinking about the duality of man, like the day and night. And so the deacon was the inspiration for Jekyll and Hyde, which is, I love that. Like, I think about that a lot. I always think about humanity and the dark side and light side. So as a writer, I mean, that's what I'm kind of drawn to. I always say I write about humanity, but the duality is like the center of everything. And I also, I still do love it, but it's not playing anymore. But I was addicted to the show Jekyll and Hyde.
Oh yeah,
Oh
you really
my
were.
God, we used to go all the time. We even
By
brought,
we, she does not mean me.
no,
I did
my
not
ex-husband
go.
and I, and other people. I would bring it. Well, we had this. I had a gift basket store, and we did bartering, and so I got all the tickets on barter. So because I would never have been able to afford to go as much, but I went all the friggin' time. I probably saw it at least 50 times.
Yeah,
And I loved the guy that sang it, Robert Cuccioli, but honestly, it's the whole story. It's the story of this duality of man. And the music is also excellent. There's one called What's Behind the Facade. And then he's engaged to this proper woman. He's Dr. Jekyll, but when he's Hyde, he's like sleeping with prostitute. There's one particular prostitute, and they have this duet that's absolutely stunning. Like the music is great, I love music when it has meaning. You know, I need to relate to it. And this whole thing, if anyone ever can see Jekyll and Hyde, my son's high school did a production of it, and his friend Noreen was involved. I think she was doing the stage work. I don't know. She was very heavily involved with it. And let me tell you, this was a professional production. It was just as good as on Broadway. I could not even believe it. It was stunning. So West Hempstead High School, you guys did great with Jekyll and Hyde. I believe my son Michael's math teacher was the person that was the teacher for the play. She did, and everything was just, and they were. I couldn't believe. I never thought I would see something good in a high school, and so kudos to them. But Jekyll and Hyde, if you ever get a chance to see it, whether it's a high school performance or Broadway or off Broadway, wherever you live, if you see that. And so Jekyll, the Robert Louis Stevenson is just an interesting guy, and I really wish I could have seen what was in that museum.
yeah, but that would have been cool.
It's the place I'll never know.
Oh no,
How are we doing on time?
we are at 42 minutes.
Okay, so we have some time. So let's talk about the real Mary King's Cross.
Close.
Right. I wrote close and I said cross. That's again one of those closes. It's like an opening and with stairs going down, but this is where this woman lived, Mary King. But it's really this museum where they take you back in time and you learn all about the plague, which was, talk about a bad time to live. It was awful.
Yeah.
And they take you into the actual rooms, like underground, and it's what I think it's most startling to think about the conditions that people lived in, and how many people survived when they had the plague? Was it like?
I don't remember.
There were two versions of the two strains, and one of them you were just going to die,
Right.
And the other one, I think you had like a 6% or 10% chance
Yeah,
of
it was
living.
something very low.
And then they had the plague doctor. The first guy died of the plague. I guess he wasn't covered up enough. And then the second guy, man, we got to put a picture of this guy up there too.
Yeah, you got to see this get up.
I got a picture of me and the plague doctor too.
Yeah.
Of course, it was a statue. They like their statues there, and this guy looked like a really evil duck.
Yeah, he's got this like beak.
It's beyond a duck beak. It's like a
crow's beak.
crow's beak. Yeah. But he made it like that for different reasons. He did it. He stuffed it up with all kinds of things to not smell the things.
Yeah.
But actually, he was putting things in that were antiseptics and were like things that things that I can't think of the words, but like they counteract disease. He didn't know about the medicinal qualities. He
Right.
was really just doing it for the smell. But that's definitely a reason why he didn't get the plague. And he covered himself up from head to toe.
Yeah.
And he lived. He was a second plague doctor, and he was able to do it the whole time. But I mean, he looks so creepy. He's actually helping people.
Oh yeah, I definitely had to bring stuff home. I bought a bag. I bought a magnet.
It was great there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they had a plague doctor, little rubber duck, but it was like 10 pounds. I
Yeah.
took a picture of it.
I bought quite a few things in that gift shop.
It was a very amazing place. Yeah. Like
Yes.
it really just gross. And then we also learned about the woman herself, Mary King. And we learned, it's just going through it's like the old city, and then the new city is like built on top of it.
Right.
Which is also like that in Seattle. So if you ever go to Seattle, the underground tour in Seattle is really cool. But it's quite interesting. at how they do that, you know. And then we also went on a different underground tour. What was that called? The Vaults.
Vault tours.
Yeah. Was it in the 70s when they rediscovered them?
Yes, 2 guys were living in there or something, and
Yeah, and they were like making holes
In the walls.
and they heard something different. They broke through and they found the vault.
the vaults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somehow it became their property.
Yes.
It was like if you, finders keepers or something.
Yeah.
So soon everybody was smashing through their walls, and most people found vaults, but some people just destroyed their walls.
Right.
But so that's why they have these vault tours now, because people could. What would you do? You could profit from it. You know? And so we went on this vault tour. It was shorter than any other tour we had. I think I just was used to longer tours or something, so I felt slightly cheated in that. But it was good. It was a really good tour, and we learned about what went on. Oh, again, like people that were poor. They weren't. They homelessness was like illegal or something. Like they weren't allowed to be on the streets, so they had to go into these vaults and like packed in with like in the dark,
in the pitch dark, with tons of other people, where you were going to the bathroom in a corner and then trying to lay down to sleep on the same floor.
Yeah, and like 100, well, a ton of people in the room. And who knows how many? And it's awful.
Sounded horrific.
I mean, I don't know how anybody survived all that stuff.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know how they all didn't die of some horrible disease.
Yeah. And then they had this room where these Satanists, they let these Satanists worship there. They let them set up a room. In the first room they set up, they felt that there was a evil spirit there and they couldn't stay. And I don't know if they're Satanists. What are they? Wiccans, right? But they did the pentacle stuff. It was really confusing because I don't think Wiccans do pentacles.
Wiccans do not do
But
that.
the guy did say Wiccan. But if they were Satanists, they would want the evil spirit.
Yeah,
But
so
they didn't
I'm
like
not
the
sure
evil
what he
spirit.
was talking about.
But there were if he says it's really the stuff that they set up there.
there were pagan
yeah,
symbols
yeah.
there. Yes, definitely.
Oh, so that's pagan symbols. The pentagon. No, isn't that Satan?
I don't know.
I thought the pentagon was Satan's.
Yeah,
Well, they were pentagons in there.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know what was going on with these people. But they went in the first room, and little by little they kept saying, "We can't stay here. We can stay here." And one guy decided to stay there all night, and he heard noise. He got thrown across the room, and he made this circle. And he said that he felt that by doing all the spells, whatever he did, that he got all the bad stuff in the circle, so it's trapped in there. So we were all around the circle. None of us went in, except for 2 guys went in. Why would you do that?
I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to chance it.
I mean, I've had a lot of bad stuff happen to me, and like I just don't need it. Like, you know, like why? Yeah, why take that chance? You know.
Yeah, I agree.
So they brought us in there, and then we saw the room where they were and they worshiped there until what happens is the leader died, and once the leader dies, they're forced to disband and leave, which is weird, but okay. So they left, but I thought that was interesting. I did like those vaults a lot.
I did too.
Yeah, but it did seem a little short. But it was probably an hour though.
Listen, I like it when they wrap it up, as you've saw later on in the trip.
Yes, but this one was. I mean, we weren't walking a lot. It was just like sort of cool.
It was cool, but
Yeah.
you know, I don't think people need to go on for hours about stuff.
I know. I don't know.
I'm like, I want the Reader's Digest version of everything. I get very irritated.
No, I like a longer version as long as there's a reason for it. You know, like when people going on and on about nonsense, that drives me crazy. But I like to have the full story as long as it's totally entertaining and needed. You know, which that other tour we'll talk about tomorrow or next week, whatever it is, later today for us. But yeah, that was no. But yeah, some people just don't know how to shut up. These tour guides. Well, that's really all I had. Did you want to say anything else about Edinburgh?
Just that I liked Edinburgh more than I liked London, definitely.
Yeah, I did this time too, but I will say that London for me is my place because of Shakespeare. And he's not, I mean, he was in London. I mean, he's from, Stratford on Avon, which I've been to also. But,
Yeah, I'm not
so for
saying
that,
I
that's
didn't
number
like
one.
it.
Yeah, but for me, but on this particular trip, I agree.
I also like the architecture better in Edinburgh.
Yeah, it was cool. It was more compact too, though. It was like manageable.
Yes. Yes.
You would have to stay in London a really long time to see everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's why like it's always a different for me when I go there. But
Yeah.
and I kept you away from the Shakespeare stuff because I know you wouldn't care. And I'd already been on the
No,
tour.
I would be fine with that.
No, you wouldn't. The tours you wouldn't want to.
Oh, was it a tour? Oh no, fuck that.
But we did see. Well, we'll talk about that Okay, so I have 2 quotes, and you have a quote, right?
Yeah, go ahead. I need to look at mine.
Okay. First one goes back to the whole thing about reality, what we were talking about earlier with Aubrey Plaza, about Aubrey Plaza. She wasn't here, sadly. And Einstein said, reality is merely an illusion, albeit a persistent one. I love that. That's great, right? Yeah. And so then talking about the duality of man, Truman Capote said something. Now, he wrote In Cold Blood. And in Cold Blood, it was about these 2 guys that like killed a whole family in a farmhouse. And he was paying for their lawyers and getting them to tell their story. And one of the guys he really related to, he actually betrayed them. Like once he got the end of the story, he needed them to die to really complete the story. So he took away their lawyers so they would just die, because without good lawyers, forget it, which was a really horrible thing to do. But he said, it's a really good movie, the Capote.
Oh,
Yeah. And
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
I mean,
it's
I've
amazing.
seen In Cold Blood.
Yeah.
And
No,
the
this
Capote
is the Capote is all about
series.
writing that.
Yeah.
And also what's her name was in it, the one that wrote
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah. He really treated her like
Harper
this
Lee.
bitch, man. I thought she worked for him, but she didn't. He was ordering her
Capote
around.
treated everyone like his bitch.
And when they celebrated her movie, he goes, "Who really cares about your little book?"
oh,
Something
yeah.
like that.
He was very...
Called it a children's story.
Yes.
Yeah. I got that the other day from somebody too.
Really?
My children's books. Like, excuse me.
Oh, I remember. Now I know, yeah.
Yes, I do. And they are the most worthy readers because they actually take it in and care.
Yeah.
Okay, so Truman Capote said this about the one killer that he related with. And I thought it was really fascinating. And it talks about the duality. It's about the duality, man, about humanity and the good and evil in us. He said, it's as if Perry, that's the guy,
Yeah.
and I grew up in the same house. And one day he stood up and went out the back door while I went out the front.
Yeah.
I just love that. Like, because it's so true. Like, if you think about it, like, and also, like, he had the capacity to be bad, but then he went out the front, and the other guy, it's like they're the same person. It's the duality of man. I believe we all have that in us.
Oh, definitely.
Everybody, once in a while, we think about like, that one needs to go. Okay, and what's your quote?
Okay, it's very short, but it's by I obsess over David Sedaris.
Okay.
If you've never read his books, people...
This is not a dead rock star.
Yeah, the rest of them. No, actually, they're not all dead rock stars.
Okay.
But, I love him.
You do.
So much.
You
If
do.
you have not read his books, go read them. They're great. He's hilarious, and he's just great. So the quote is, what other people call dark and despairing, I call funny. And that's how I feel most of the time.
That's perfect also for this session. Were we funny though? I don't know.
Today?
Yeah. No, dear. Well, we're sort of just, I guess we're just being light about, we told you these things, but I don't know, were we amusing?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
Well, too bad.
I think we were interesting.
I thought it was interesting,
Yeah.
but who knows?
Well, look, you can't always laugh. You could. But
Right.
you'd be-
Everything
feel like the Joker or something.
such a good movie.
That wasn't, Joker.
Joker,
Yes.
sorry. Yes.
Joker. Yes. They have another one, right? Is it coming?
Yeah.
With him again?
I don't know. I don't think I'd be into it if it wasn't him.
No, but I think it was perfect the way it was. I think they should leave it alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Joaquin
That was a
Phoenix.
great movie.
Yeah. He's amazing.
He is. And he only killed bad people,
Yeah.
which was good.
That is good.
Yeah. It was a
Taking
great
out the
movie.
riffraff.
Yeah. It was a lot different than that Heath Ledger one. Oof,
Yes.
that guy was bad.
Yes.
I had in the middle of that movie, I had to say to myself, this is just a movie. This is just a movie. I really had to say that to myself. I was so upset.
Really?
I was so upset. There was nothing good in that movie. It was all about the darkness of humanity, except for that prison boat where the guy refused to kill the other people.
I have to tell you, I remember watching that movie, but I was so distracted because at the time I had a dog named Daisy, and Daisy freaked out at everything. And there was a thunderstorm, and she freaked out through the entire movie.
Oh, you were watching it at home?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
No, I
it
watched
was
it in the
very
theater.
distracting.
Let me tell you, watching that in the theater was really horrific. And
Yeah.
I was with my kids.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't see that
Yeah.
in the theater because I really wanted to see it.
I was so friggin' upset at that movie. It really, it was so disturbing to the core.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you get more into those things than I
too.
do.
But like, I mean, the whole thing. And do you know, I had a conversation with my son at my son Michael's wedding a couple weeks ago. Wow, he's already been married a couple of weeks. And there was a somebody he met in a friend from law school that came from Minnesota, and it was very nice. And he said, "Do you remember what we talked about last time? We were talking about an aspect of that movie where the guy and the girl are both tied up, and they can only save one." And we started talking about it again. He goes, "Do you realize we're having the exact same conversation?" It was like not an argument, it was like a debate, you know. And it was like, I feel very strongly about this, and so did he, I guess. So I guess that movie really sticks with me because I remember like moment by moment things in that movie.
I couldn't even tell you.
Oh, but I think they should have ended it like when the guy became Two-Faced, that was too long.
That annoyed me because
Yeah.
I was like, what is that even about? Like, it didn't need to be in the movie at all.
It could have been like he turned into him and that's the end. He was bad.
It's
true. It
That
really
part I remember because
Well, that's when it went too
irritated me.
long. It should have ended there. It was a long friggin' movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, Two-Faced, the duality of man.
Yeah.
See, can't get away from it. Well, I hope you liked this episode.
Yeah.
If you didn't like it, don't tell us. I'm only kidding. Tell us whatever you like. We can take it.
Just
we want your
be
comments.
Nice. Constructive criticism, not nasty
We want your
criticism.
comments. Right now, you can do it on the Facebook, the community group. It's Life and Jest podcast community, and so I will be doing the website as soon as I can, and I'll also set up a Gmail. But you can email me through my website, and you can tell me whatever you want. My website is SeleneCastrovilla@gmail.com. No. That's your email. That's my email. Well, now you have my email. It's not a secret. My website is SeleneCastrovilla.com. And so, let us know. You can find all the links for this in the notes. If you're listening, I guess you know how to find it. Okay.
And I have no website. I don't want to hear from anybody. Thanks
really
anyway.
doesn't. She's in hiding. Even her Instagram is private.
Oh, I always set my stuff to private.
Yeah. Well,
once again, got to keep out the riffraff.
Well, I don't. I can't.
No, I don't want any weirdos.
Oh, I know. I've told you, I'm getting some weird conversations with some guy that he's like a famous illustrator. He friended me. Pretty sure it's not him because he just keeps saying, "Hey, how you doing?"
Okay. No, be done with him.
I think this guy should have a little more to say than that. A little finesse. All right. With that, we will bid you adieu and cheerio.
Good day.
Okay.